Nope. Yep. A good game here. Texas A&M and Ole Miss, 15-10. Ole Miss up on Texas A&M. Fourth quarter of that one. Notre Dame all over Virginia, 21-0. And Texas trying to pull a big upset here. Only down 42-21 to Kansas in the third quarter. Can Texas pull off the huge upset and beat the Jayhawks? Stay tuned to LouTube to find out. But anyway, Oklahoma fans, I should have made this video way earlier today, but I'm a very busy and important person. Didn't have time. Too busy watching the number one team in America, my Georgia Bulldogs, blow out yet another overmatched opponent, something Oklahoma seems to have a hard time doing. Anyway, I need the Oklahoma fans to do me a favor here. Well, not really me. You don't owe me anything. You guys owe the playoff committee an apology. I think the school, the university, Lincoln Riley, the athletic director, and really the fans all need to send apology letters to the playoff committee, the college football playoff committee. For the last 2 weeks, I've seen the Oklahoma fans everywhere, Twitter, Facebook, my comment section, all over the place. Oh, the playoff committee is biased. The playoff committee just hates us. They have it out for Oklahoma. They just don't like OU. Why is this team ranked ahead of us? Oklahoma would beat that team head-to-head. They shouldn't be ranked ahead of us. Crying because they had you ranked number 8. Well, turns out, playoff committee right. Oklahoma, man, wrong. You guys absolutely, you shit the bed today. There's no other way to put it. You lost to Baylor. Baylor's a two-loss team. Baylor is Baylor. Baylor is Baylor. Now, I give you some credit. You managed to come back and beat Kansas when you played them, something it appears your arch nemesis, the Shorthorn, is going to be unable to do today. We'll see. So you did play Kansas tougher than Texas did, but that's really the best thing Oklahoma can say about their season thus far. I mean, it turns out an entire season's worth of embarrassing performances by Oklahoma against overmatched teams was not very impressive to the playoff committee, and it turns out they were correct in their assessment that Oklahoma just isn't a playoff caliber team. I don't know why anyone is surprised by this. If you watched Oklahoma play, it's been a comedy of errors for the entirety of the season. Today, you're out here playing the QB hokey pokey. And this is another thing that Oklahoma fan needs to tighten up and wise up about. Every single player that puts on an Oklahoma helmet and lines up at quarterback is not a Heisman candidate, okay? Sometimes they're just an okay quarterback. Not every quarterback that plays for Lincoln Riley is a Heisman candidate. Just simply putting on an Oklahoma uniform and receiving a snap from the center doesn't make you a Heisman candidate. Spencer Rattler was winning the Heisman until week 4 when all of a sudden he was doo-doo and terrible and no good and you had to bench him, and I hate Lincoln Riley, and why is he playing Spencer Rattler? We need Caleb Williams. Well, you put Caleb Williams in, he comes out, scores 0 points in the first half against Kansas, and then today he comes out and lays a rotten egg against Baylor. And what does Lincoln Riley do? Well, QB hokey pokey. Out comes Caleb Williams, in comes Spencer Rattler, result the same, just not that good. Puts Caleb Williams back in, result the same, not that good. Turns out, playoff committee knew what they were talking about. Oklahoma fan didn't. And not every player that lines up and plays quarterback for Oklahoma is the greatest quarterback in the history of history. Amazing, I know, but these are things that we now know are facts. Now, these are things that the rest of the known universe knew prior to today. But unfortunately, Oklahoma fans are like a 50 or 60-year-old man waking up from a coma and not knowing what a cell phone is. That's what Oklahoma fans are like today. They're like, man, Oklahoma's not that good. Did you see how bad we got beat by Baylor? And, both the quarterbacks played bad today. I'm not sure what's going on. What's going on is that you're not just very good. You're just not very good. I mean, it's just the reality of the situation. Oklahoma defense is the same Oklahoma defense we've seen for the last 5-6 years since in the playoff era, basically. And your offense is the worst that it's been since before the playoff era. So, no, you shouldn't have been ranked in the top 4 or 5. No, you're not a playoff caliber team. No, Spencer Rattler is not a Heisman candidate. No, Caleb Williams is not a Heisman candidate. Oklahoma is just an average run-of-the-mill Big 12 team. That's it. That's all. A team that's probably going 10-2 in the regular season and then flipping a coin in the Big 12 title game to see if they get the opportunity to lose to a real team in a New Year's Six Bowl. That's basically what Oklahoma is this year. Nothing more, and nothing less. And what's most surprising to me, and honestly, what's most disappointing to me, I think, is that it took this loss to Baylor for Oklahoma fans to look around and go, I don't think we're making the playoffs this year. You should have known that 2 seasons ago when you lost your last playoff game. Why? Well, because if you've been watching UncleLou every day like you're supposed to, and I happen to know that a lot of you Oklahoma fans do watch UncleLou every day like you're supposed to, because you've been here since 2017 with the type. If you'd been paying attention, you would know that when you lost your last playoff game, which was what, your 4th or 5th playoff game and a loss in a row, whatever. I mean, you made the playoffs how many years in a row? Never won a playoff game. When you lost the last one in, 2019? If you were paying attention, you would already know you weren't making the playoffs this year. Just like you would have known you weren't making the playoffs last year. Now, why would you have known that? By watching UncleLou and paying attention every day like you're supposed to? Because UncleLou told you. When you lost that last playoff game in 2019, what did I tell you? You are on a playoff ban. UncleLou put you on a playoff ban. I put the entire Big Ten on a playoff ban several years ago. And guess what? The Big Ten didn't make the playoffs for a couple of years in a row. See? You guys think I'm just some idiot YouTuber. No, I'm pulling the strings here. And when you lost that last playoff game in 2019, I said, that's it. That's all, and that's it. 2-year playoff ban for Oklahoma. It's on video. Go watch it. And guess what? You didn't make the playoffs in 2020, and you're not making the playoffs in 2021. Why? Because you lost to Baylor? No. Why? Because your defense is still mush doo-doo? No. Why? Because UncleLou fucking said so. That's why.